guess we'll start right now, and people will just have to catch up if they come in. The topic is herbs that relax, which is actually not an easy topic. I was thinking about it, and thinking about the herbs that relax was getting me nervous, actually, because the subject is brings up a lot of complicated things beyond herbs. You know, how does a person relax? What's their mental state? What's their history? How do they come into this world? There's so many factors. So that covered the topic for those people who are here who want to hear about the topic. There are a number of herbs that are known as nervines, and these herbs supposedly relax your nerves. And I've used a number of them, and they really do work. And I've never had any side effects from them, so to speak. And I take two every day, actually. They're very gentle. One is called passion flower, and one is called lemon balm. Now, I actually grow lemon balm. It's very easy to grow. And I brought some with me. And I will let you see what it looks like.
It's called lemon what?
Wait, I do not see it. Maybe I don't have it. It's called lemon balm. Lemon balm. It's very gentle, very nice to take. And the other one is passion flower. And every morning with my various other herbs that I take, I use these two. Now there's several other herbs, there's many that are in the nervine family, but I'll talk about a couple of other ones. One is hops. I'm sure you've heard of hops because hops is what's used in making beer. And that's why people like beer a lot. And that's really what gets people with beer, because they feel so good. It's not just the alcohol, because the hops makes a person really just chill out and feel quite good. And I think that's probably the reason why they put it in, and why people seem to like beer who do. I think it's a big factor. The next herb that's a very interesting herb is called valerian. Valerian root is what's usually taken. Now, valerian root has an unusual quality in that if you need it, it smells good when you smell it. I know that sounds bizarre, but it's true. And if you don't need it, it smells very bad. It smells like dirty socks, actually, to me. And valerian is a famous herb because it's what Valium was made of. And the pharmaceutical companies, when they make medicines, by and large, they make all their medicines they take an herb, they find out what the constituent parts of the herb are, and they do what something's called synthesize, and they make it into a non-plant. They make it into a chemical. And once they make it into a chemical, then they can do something with it that they can't with the plant. Anybody knows what that is? It's a question. Anybody want to answer? What do they do? Why does the pharmaceutical synthesize it as opposed to just using the plant? Well, the answer is because they can't patent it, they can't control it, and they can't sell it as a original thing, and therefore they cannot make hundreds of millions or billions of dollars on it. But if they turn it into a chemical, then they can create a patent, and then they can own the thing and sell it. So that's what they do. That's what pharmaceutical companies do. They turn things into chemicals from plants, and they work. Problem is, they also have other things that they always have side effects. Whereas the plant coming directly from Hashem rarely has the kinds of side effects that the chemical medicine will have. So our medicines in America, I don't want to get too complicated. We have little kids here, nice little kids. Thanks for coming. So enough said about, I guess, the synthesizing of chemicals. And the last herb that's very good for nervine, that is really strong and will work very, very quickly, is, and I don't take it because it's way too strong for me, it's called skullcap. SCULLCAP. It's a very strong plant. I think I mentioned this in the last lecture for anybody who was here then. I remember I once went on a shidduch date. That was the story I told. And I should have known there might have been a problem because she was a woman rabbi, but at those days I was a little more liberal, I guess. And and this lady was really like, she was like moving all over the place, and she couldn't stand still, and she was like super nervous. And I said, and she knew a lot about all kinds of different things, including plants. And I said, maybe you'd like a little skull cap. And I happen to have a tincture in my pocket. And she said, sure, that's great, thanks. And I squirted some in her mouth, and literally in 30 seconds later, she was like, yeah. She just was totally mellowed out. Skull cap is, if you're really freaking out, is a great herb to take in an emergency situation. So, having said that, I'm going to venture off, since this is a Torah class, besides for herbs, and a friend of mine encouraged me to go into some Torah kinds of ideas with herbs, and I'm going to talk about the subject of relaxing. You can't avoid Hashem. You can't, especially everybody here looks pretty Jewish, and we certainly can't avoid the source of where everything comes from. And by the way, there's some wonderful Tehillim that talks about nature. It's 19, 104, and 148. And by reading those, they will relax you, because you're dealing with Hashem's creations, and Hashem's creations are really tranquil when you're around them. So why are herbs so special? Why is it so amazing that since the beginning of time, people have been involved in herbs? I looked at Me'am Loez, the commentary on the Torah, and it mentions in Me'am Loez that Hashem taught Moshe Rabbeinu all of the herbs. I never knew that on Har Sinai, that he taught literally Moshe Rabbeinu all the herbs. I thought that was pretty amazing. That's a subject that he. You know what Me'am Lo is? I don't remember where it was, but it is. He mentions it. I read it just randomly, and he clearly says right out. Just mentions it in one sentence that Hashem taught Moshe Rabbeinu the herbs. I guess it makes sense because he was teaching him everything that there was to know. So I guess he would, no reason why he wouldn't teach herbs. So, and herbs, what are really herbs? Herbs are really part of creation. They're part of nature. Yes? You can't hear?
Speak more into the mic.
Is this better? Okay.
Close to that.
Problem is I like to move around.
You want to hold the mic?
Nah, I don't want to hold it. Okay. Looks like, oh well, I'll leave it alone. But, so, the herbs are part of really nature, which are really part of Hashem, because Hashem created it. Hashem creates it, and the closer it is to Hashem, the more effective it is with us. And just taking a walk in nature is relaxing. Just being outside where there's no barriers between you and everything else makes you feel better, because there's no interference basically between the person and Hashem's creations. And Hashem is obviously present everywhere, but there's so many barriers that we erect with the things that we create with various substances that changes nature, it alters it. I'm sure God is there in some aspect, but when you take various pieces of creation and you alter it and you turn it into plastic and you turn it into various other substances, I think it's pretty hard to feel the actual closeness of Hashem that's involved there. But nature is something, God's creations are something that are not to be feared. They're not to be, we are not meant to be afraid of Hashem's creations. Unfortunately, we've lived in cities for so long that people are afraid of animals. And I'm going to tell you a little story, especially because there's little kids. I'm going to tell you a story about a wolf. You want to hear a story about a wolf? Yeah?
His name is Zev.
So, oh.
His name is Zev.
Zev. Oh, wow, Zev, your name is Wolf. You want to hear a story about a wolf? Yeah? Okay. So here's a true story about a wolf. And the point of this story is that there's really very little to be afraid of by being in the woods. It's far safer in the woods than on a city street. So, oh, okay. So, and if you want to relax, besides for taking herbs, I can't think of a better place to relax than being in the woods. Unfortunately, a lot of people are afraid to go in the woods. Most of my friends who grew up in Brooklyn, now that I live down near New York, I used to live upstate, are pretty afraid to be in the woods. They're afraid that an animal's going to come out, it's going to attack them, various things are going to happen. And the question, is that something that we really need to be afraid of? Is there any basis to that? So I've lived down here for almost 30 years, and there's lots of bears around, and there's only one case out of 50 million people that I've heard in close to 30 years that a bear attacked and killed something. And what it was in the Catskills. The baby was unattended. It was in a stroller, I believe, and there was some food nearby or something, and a bear came by and got interested and started shaking the baby, and whatever, the baby died. But there's no other case of that. If you think about it, how many people get run over by cars in Muncie? And the statistics are just unbelievable. I mean, there's in the last 50 years, there's tens of thousands of people that have been killed just crossing the street. So, but people are not afraid when they're crossing the street in general, but they sure are afraid of bears. That if they take a walk, they think a bear may attack them. But the facts are, they're really not dangerous. One time, I still am interested in wolves. And Zev, you gotta listen to this, because the story is about a wolf. A big wolf. And I got very interested in wolves. And was going to go for Shabbos at the Tusher Rebbe's, and I found a place in Canada where they had wolves. And so I went to this place where they had wolves. It's a huge, huge park. It was about 5 hours from west of Montreal. And so what did I do? It was winter time. I was on my cross-country skis, and I went everywhere I could to see a wolf. And I also howled, because I knew how they howled. I've been with people that they do that to attract wolves. I could nothing. This went on for a couple of days, and saw nothing. But it was getting time to go for Shabbos. I said, you know, I can't be late for Shabbos. So, and then I said a strong prayer, and I quickly went around on my cross-country skis around a tree, and I was hoping Hashem would answer my prayer, but Hashem didn't answer my prayer, and to see a wolf, and so had to go. Got in my van, and as I got in my van, I'm driving out of this Algonquin National Park is the name of the park, by the way. And they still have wolves there. And by the way, they have, in August, the park rangers howl, and everybody is quiet, and you can hear the wolves howling back. That's how I heard of this place. It's still going on. This has been going on for a long time. So I'm driving out of this park, and I'm going, I don't remember if I was totally out of it, but I was about 18, 19 miles from where I started. I'm driving, and all of a sudden, a gigantic wolf goes right in front of the windshield. And I mean, it was like, I couldn't believe it. Stopped the vehicle, and the wolf started running down a hill on the other side. And so what did I do? I started running after the wolf, and I got to the bottom, and then there was a wolf standing behind like a little bush, moving his head all around, looking at, thinking, what kind of nut is this doing this? And he didn't know me, so I guess he did. And then he started running away, and the wolf was running and running and running, and I started running as fast as I could after him. And as I was running after him, I thought to myself, I hope I'm correct, that wolves can't stand the scent of man, and they're not a danger to man. And I told myself, of course I'm running. Absolutely, you studied it. I kept on running. I never saw the wolf again.
The wolf was still running.
The wolf was gone.
He's still running.
Yes. So I started to howl a little, thinking I could get the wolf to howl. And the wolf I didn't hear anything. I climbed back up. It was a good 100 feet up. Got to the top, and the person, I was with somebody else at the time, they were in the vehicle, and they said, did you hear that howling? And I said, howling? That was me. He said, no. There are lots of different wolves howling on the other side. Apparently, my howling stimulated part of his wolf pack, which was on the other side. It got separated, and I drew the wolf's footprint in the snow. I still have it. It's in a paper. It's like it's bigger than this. His footprint. It was a big male alpha wolf. So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because Hashem created us and animals so that wild animals, chaya, wild animals, are afraid of people. So when I went to the Tush, and I finally got in to see the Tusher Rebbe, Motzi Shabbos, I wanted to tell the Tusher Rebbe about this story because I was so excited. And the Gabbai said, no, you can't tell him such a story about it. No, don't tell the Rebbe. I said, I'm sure he'll like it. I had an argument with him. Finally, he agreed it's okay. I needed to go through the Gabbai because he spoke Yiddish and I didn't, so he translated it. I said, believe me, the Rebbe will like the story. So I told the Rebbe about the wolf. the Rebbe's face lit up more than it normally is, and he was very excited to hear about this. And when I went out from the Rebbe and spoke to the Gabbai said he was so surprised that the Rebbe was interested. I said, I told you that he would be. So what's the point of this? The point of this is that wild animals are afraid of people. It says it clearly in the Torah. There's what's the word? Sis Halukim? How do you say it? Selef Elokim. There's a sign on people that make animals afraid of us. Wild animals. So it's interesting because the wild animals come out at nighttime when people are sleeping. That's when they do their things, at nighttime, during the nighttime. In the daytime they go away, and then we wake up. So if you really want to see wild animals, generally it has to be at nighttime. So I don't want to get too far into wolves, but just quickly, where did wolves get their bad rep? Because everybody has heard stories about the big bad wolf attacking people. It never happened in North America. There's no history of Indian stories that a wolf ever attacked and killed a person. So why do they have such a bad rap? The bad rap comes from Europe. When there were so many wars all the time, they used to leave dead bodies and all over the place. And eventually, wolves went up to the dead bodies and got a taste of people. And as a result of that, it altered the way they function. And on a relatively small number of occasions, maybe a dozen or less, over a long period of time, wolves did attack and kill people in Europe. I don't know anywhere else that occurred. And that fearsome story created the fear that people have about wolves. So, what does a person need to be afraid of in terms of animals? Guess what? Who thinks, what's the most dangerous animal that can be? Yes? Well, people are not animals. Dogs are the most dangerous animal. Why? Because dogs are no longer wild. Dogs are not wild animals. They become pets. And once you take away the wildness, you take away the natural fear that they have of people. They don't sense that because they're used to being around people. So that's where the problem lies. But I'm telling you this because you don't need to be afraid when you're in the woods. It's probably the safest place that you'll ever be. It's way more safe than being in a car, than being. You want to ask something?
Also, bears are dangerous. Bears.
What's he saying?
Bears are dangerous.
Bears.
Okay, we're gonna keep the questions to the end. I'm gonna. By the way, if anybody has any questions, write them down for yourself, and I'll try to answer them at the end, and we'll go into that. Okay. So the topic generally is relaxing, and I went far adrift here, but I think it's relevant. And I have a guy who's worked for me for many years. He's from South America, and I'm telling you this story because it's a nature story, and it's something to keep your mind on. That it says in the Torah that you can learn from everybody. So I was with him one time, and he said that, I don't know why he said this, but he said that if you take your shoes off and just stand on the ground and you hold a tree for 10 minutes, he says it will completely relax you. I thought that was interesting. And it's true. Although I tried it and I didn't find it for myself that I was so relaxed, but I could feel a difference. I definitely could feel a difference. So
Because your body absorbs the ground when you're rest, doesn't your body absorb minerals?
pardon?
Doesn't your body absorb minerals? If you go on the grass barefoot on the ground, you're absorbing minerals.
Well, it's not only the ground, it's the tree too. The tree has a very strong presence. It's a very large object, and so do people. I mean, when we look at a person, we see a person in front of us, but we don't see all the energies and all the things that are given off by a person unless you have those abilities to see that kind of things. But we just don't see those types of things generally. And so, okay. So all around us, there's plants, there's living things, and in the grass, in a person's yard, I'd kind of like to take everybody out just for a couple of minutes to show them what's in a grass that is not pesticide. Because once it's pesticided, and you look interested in that, that's it, it's gone, it's dead. The only thing that's there is grass. I mean, all the plants are killed. That's what they're designed to do, is to destroy. So I happen to bring a couple of plants with me because I'm so happy that this is growing in my backyard. Does anybody know what this nice big plant is?
Mulane.
Oh, great. You know? You know it's mulane? Do you know what you use mulane for? Well, this is the time of year you're going to see as you go out and driving in your car, even lots that people aren't building on. You'll see this growing, and that's why I brought this in, because you're going to see right now the yellow flowers are coming out. And with these yellow flowers, you can take them, put them in a little bit of oil, let it sit for a couple of weeks, and you can use it in your ears. It helps all types of problems, infections, and all types of other things in ears. It's been used for a long, long time doing this. The leaves of this plant are used for your lungs. It's a lung herb. You make a tea out of it. There's other uses that it has, but it's basically, it can really get rid of even serious lung conditions that other things won't. And you dry the leaves, and you make a tea out of it, and you drink it. And that's this plant. Another plant that I brought in, or did I lose this plant? Another plant that you'll readily find in your yard, believe it or not, are strawberries. Strawberries grow in the yard left alone. And I brought one from my yard just so you could see it. Maybe it's too far to see, but maybe somebody will take it and pass it around, and you'll see what a strawberry plant looks like growing in your yard, and yes, you can eat it. Another plant that's growing quite regularly all around, everywhere. Anybody know what this is? No? This,
Oregano?
you know, I did bring oregano, and because I grow it. Oregano is a very strong plant, and I was quite sick about a month ago, and I didn't want to take antibiotics, but I even ordered them because I was like really, really sick, and I figured I'll try this. I read a book by a doctor. He talked about oregano, and there's a company called, I think it's the North American Oregano Company, Northeast Oregano Company, and he was saying that this product can kill anything. And so I ordered this product, and in place of my antibiotics. And I took this product, and sure enough, it killed out what was there. But it also had oregano, and it had onion and garlic in it, and it was very, very strong. So maybe you'll pass this around for me. This is oregano. Let's see if we have anything else. You can pass that around. You can see it. It's very, very strong. You can smell it. And this plant is burdock. Burdock is a plant that has a long tuberous root that is actually, you can eat it. It's very, very nutritious. Many health food stores sell it, not all, but I should say, let's say some. I mean, places I've been, I've seen it. And they sell it, they make, a lot of money on this. It's all over the place. You just dig it out of your yard. I have a friend who used to put egg batter on it and fry it and eat it with her eggs. And but you'll notice this in a lot of places. I'd like to just take you outside just for a couple of minutes, since it's not raining, and see what we see, just so you can get used to seeing what might be in your own yard and what's there. So let's go out for a few minutes and see what we can find.
Coming back after?
Yeah, we'll be right back just in a few minutes. Yes.
It smells like a radish.
Radish family, the burdock.
Aber nicht in der Heimat.
Right here, plantain. Here, plantain. This is good for cuts. This is good for bug bites. And what you do with this is you clip it here and you break it up. Some people have the tradition to make sure there's no bugs, of course, but you break it up in the back of your teeth here. Then you apply it on the cuts.
You gotta chew it.
You gotta chew it.
You have to chew it thoroughly.
You have to break it down.
Because you have to get the oils in the plantain activated, or it won't work. But it's great for mosquito. It's great for mosquito bites
and smoke cuts.
and various insect bites and all kinds of pain things. That's right here, just growing on its own. You really do it. Okay, this is the top of a plantain. You notice this in the fall. It's everywhere, between sidewalks or whatever. This substance. Do you know what this is? Did you hear about plantain?
This is the leaf.
Yes. So this, growing up here, these are the seeds of a plantain plant. If you go into a health food store, you will find something called psyllium seeds. P-S-Y-S-I-L-L-U-M. Psyllium seeds. Psyllium seeds is widely sold and used to clean out all your intestines. And this, yeah, we'll get away from it. there's things up here. That's why I want to show you up here. But if you hold on to this. This is the second type of plantain.
Long leaves
Yes.
that have the same seeds.
No, it doesn't. But this will do the same thing. It's long leaf plantain, has the same qualities, and you can use it. There's more of the broadleaf, but you'll see this around too. Yes, that's it.
You're using it for healing.
Chew it up, boom, boom, boom.
Oh,
What is this? Leaves?
in other words, you chew it up if you
I'm
have
not
a
sure.
cut or a...
Mosquito bites.
This is the long ones? This looks like the grass that the
No, that's grass. Right here.
Yeah, this is. Here, come.
They'll have ribs.
This is garlic mustard. Garlic mustard is an edible plant, and you've got to make sure it's clean. It's very tasty, and it can be used in cooking. Great.
This is the buttocks.
Garlic mustard.
Garlic mustard.
And you swallow it generally?
This is the one that you have
But it's okay
inside?
to swallow.
No.
And how do you know which ones are not?
You'll find out. You'll learn.
Based on
This is not a... This
taste.
is
Well, you'll die.
No, because I do it.
If
I
you
do.
take a,
Here.
well, you should be careful.
I
Usually
want-
15 minutes, then you'll know.
I want to show you.
This is poison ivy.
I want to show you poison ivy.
Oh, look at it. This is the poison ivy is going to show you.
Sorry to bother you.
Yeah, it's okay, it's okay.
This plant here is poison ivy. I want you to know what it is so you don't touch it. Poison ivy
Yeah, this is poison ivy.
is a 3-leaf plant.
Which one? Which one?
It's right here.
The dark ones.
Can you touch with your leg like this?
And that's what poison ivy is.
This is fine to put in a mouth.
Now some people get confused with poison ivy and another plant because it looks somewhat like it, but it does not have 3 leaves. Does anybody know what this is? Does anybody? This is called Virginia creeper. You know, sometimes if something is off, it could look very much like, it could look like poison ivy, and if something's off, but it's not. It's a vine plant that grows up. It's called Virginia creeper. I think we'll just circle back now. Here's what I knew I wanted to
What do you do with Virginia creeper?
It's not a plant that's used.
You're just identifying the plant. Okay.
So this plant here, does everybody know what this is?
The white? Which one? Which one? The white thing?
Clover. So there's 2 types of clover, white clover and red clover. Clover, does anybody know what you can use clover for? Besides making a wish?
Spices?
Well,
Types of food?
no, clover,
Which one is clover?
this plant here.
Whoa. It's good for teeth.
Clover is in the family of what are called alteratives, which means alteratives, that's the term they use, is a blood purifier. What it does is it takes poison out of the blood. Now there's a famous Yanamaklet remedy that
Ja, wir sind halt.
they use 4
Wir sind Colombia
things,
now. Okay.
and this is one of the main things, is clover. No, they use red clover, I think, but either one would work.
I never know that. I know a lot, but this I never know.
So this is
I
right
learned a
in
new
your
thing.
lawn, in everybody's lawn.
And what I could do with the clover, I could soak it and drink the water.
Dry
or
it
something?
out and make a tea. Out of clover.
Has to be sun dry.
No, you could, but I just put it in a warm area. You know, I find the best way of drying something is put it in my car on my dash where the sun comes in. You know, people will look at you a little weird, but you know, then they'll stay away from me. That's usually good.
You could put it in the back window also.
You use the flowers or like
The
the
flower.
leaves? The flowers.
The flower of the clover is really good.
When this
And
grows
there's a
higher, it
formula-
has
the
like seeds or
formula
something?
that they use for Yanamaka. It's called SCI. Anybody ever hear of that? ESSIAC. You've heard of it. Well, it's very old, and a lot of people claim they've been cured of Yanamaka by it. The problem is because it became so popular, then people start making their own, and they put a different label on it. They put a different thing, and now you know you got to make sure you're getting what they actually put in it. There are 4 herbs that are in it. One was rhubarb, sheep sorrel, and the other is clover. And there's I forget the 4th, but you can buy it. And if it costs a huge amount of money, don't buy it. Because they're just trying to get your money. You can get the herbs yourself and make it yourself. You don't have to get some product. I happen to look it up and they're charging like, you know, about.
Do you do personal consultations?
And what is this leaf over there? Poison oak?
Pardon?
What is this? Poison oak? It's not poison oak?
This? This is the same thing I told you, Virginia creeper. And how do you know it's not poison oak? Because there's 5 leaves.
Poison oak?
Poison oak and poison ivy all have 3 leaves.
Oh, this looks like poison oak, no?
It looks like it, yes,
right.
and it looks like poison ivy,
This
but it's
5
not,
is different.
but it's
Oh.
not.
But this is also climbing on the trees, yeah? This
It's
is
a vine.
It's a vine, yes.
However, let's see. No, this is But look how you could be fooled. Here's the vine,
Yes.
and now it has 3 leaves. Because I don't know what happened to the other 2. Here it has 4. It could look like poison ivy or poison oak, but if it's got 5 leaves, you don't need to worry.
5 leaves is what? Usually they grow together, poison with this, huh?
Yeah, you don't need to worry about it.
What's the name?
Called Virginia creeper.
And what is this good for?
I don't know. I don't think it's used in this. How much time?
Anything for product how to prevent them.
A lot of things.
That's to me too. I've seen beer and milk.
I'll talk about it.
The yellow leaves over there, this is not chamomile? Where? It's over there, there's some yellow.
Oh, I forgot to.
This one.
This one?
Yes.
Okay, this is a great one to know about. It's so simple and whatever, but it's really good to know. This is dandelion.
Yeah, this is the one that then you blow and
These
it
are dandelion root. People use the dandelion root, and even all the MDs are in total agreement of this. That dandelion root will cure your liver.
What?
Best
Cure the liver.
thing for your liver because it is
Dandelion.
They tell you that it's
dry,
sweet.
dry
I know, but they
dandelion root. You can buy it in a store, in an herb store, and I'll tell you 2 stores that I go to, and I'll give you their names, and when we're in there you can write them down. Places you can order all this stuff. Because most people are not going to go collect their own stuff. That's a good one. No, there's 2 other ones that So dandelion root, in the spring when it's small, it's a great food. You can put it in salads, put it and it's mild.
Yeah.
When it gets big, it gets a little, doesn't taste as good. But this is this grows everywhere. And look, here's a different type of clover. Look, here's the red clover, as opposed to the white clover.
White clover is this, no?
Yeah. white
This is
and
also
red.
clover?
Yeah,
It's
that's
clover.
also clover.
So some of the most enjoyable times that I've spent is I have a farm.
The yellow
upstate-
ones is not
upstate-
chamomile?
dandelion.
It's dandelion.
I have a farm upstate New York, and there's a lot of Amish people there. And the Amish people, they have big fields. And I'm friends with a lady, believe it or not, her name is Bina. She's a very, very nice
Yes.
lady. Got like 12 kids, I think. Husband has a whole wood thing there. They have a huge field and it's loaded with red clover. And I asked them, do you mind if I pick it? And they said, take all you want. So I have such a good time in the summertime. In the sun, I go out there and I pick this clover. I get a big bag full. It lasts me a huge period of time. And remember what clover is? It's a blood purifier. It takes toxins and poisons out of your system.
Also cholesterol.
It's called an
What
ulcer.
about also cholesterol?
Pardon?
Cholesterol.
I don't pay any attention to cholesterol. I don't know anything about cholesterol. I don't do a thing with cholesterol. I take no pills whatsoever.
But this is also like reducing.
Huh?
It helps to reduce cholesterol.
I don't know anything about cholesterol. You're asking the wrong person. I don't pay attention to it. I don't know anything about it. I'm not concerned about it. Personally, I don't mean to be paranoid, but I think it's invented by doctors. It's one of the more things they have to check for and make money on. I think it's a bunch of baloney.
They say people get strokes from too high cholesterol, no?
I don't know anything about it. I just don't pay any attention to it. I used to pay a lot of attention to what doctors did and what they said. And when I was a young man, I did exactly what the doctor said. And do you have this on? I used to go to a doctor because I was tired all the time. I was in Ohio in school and I was yawning all the time. And the reason why is because I grew up in the East and in the West, they don't have oceans and the plants don't get what's seeping in, the iodine from the ocean. And so they didn't have that. So he gave me and I listened to this guy. He was a very good doctor and a nice guy too, Dr. Raymond. And he said, I'm going to give you a tablet, Sam. It's going to help you. Don't worry. So I took it. The doctor told me to take it. So I religiously took it every single day. Gave me this little capsule. After a few years, I decided to ask him, what is in this? He said, oh, this is thyroxine, Sam. I said, but where does it come from? He said, oh, we take this from a rat, R-A-T, thyroid, and that's what it is. It's a rat's thyroid, and they happen to have a lot of iodine. I didn't throw up, but I wanted to throw up. And then I said to myself, this is not good. This is not good at all. So I was a young guy at that time. It was over 40 years ago. I think, how old was I? 21, 22. I went to a health food store. There was a good health food store in the city. And I started looking up things about thyroid. And you know what it said? Anybody know what's the remedy for that problem? Kelp. K-E-L-P. What is kelp? Kelp is a sea vegetable that grows way up. And in the sea, I once went scuba diving in California. There are kelp plants. They are like 20 feet high. And kelp, I slowly went off that, and then I took the kelp, and I felt just as good, and I never looked back.
So kelp is for the thyroids?
Pardon?
Kelp is for the thyroids?
Kelp can be used for thyroid and many other things, yes. It'll give you nutrients that you need. It has lots of nutrients of all kinds. It's loaded. It's loaded with all kinds of minerals and all kinds of things that comes from the sea. A lot of
So
things.
for the people that have problem with the thyroid.
Pardon?
People for the people that have problem with the thyroid.
Thyroid kelp is Thyroid kelp is a solution, definitely. It has iodine in it, natural iodine in it, and many other things. Many other things.
Not so much about that.
I mentioned this last time, but I'll mention it again because it seems to be interesting. Kelp, long little strips of kelp, And whenever I'm cooking soup or rice or any kind of grains, I put a piece of kelp in it because it gets absorbed into the food and you get the nutrients and you don't have to bother taking anything. Now, you don't want to eat that, you could, because all the nutrients are taken out and it's not very tasty. After everything comes out, there's nothing there. And if you just nibble on it, it's salty and strong. But if you just take it out, you throw it away. But it's a great trick to use for cooking. No, I don't need it. It's just, I forgot, I probably learned this. I used to go to these herb classes 40 years ago. They were great in Massachusetts. And they were all herbalists and all interesting kinds of things were going on. And they mentioned that and I filed it away in my head. And by the way, that's a great way to learn. Don't think you know it all, ever. You can always learn. I learned from my gardener. And I think I told this story last time that when my back was hurting. Does anybody remember that? Well, I'll tell it again because it's worth hearing. I was Mr. Smarty Pants when I was a young guy, and I went to whoever was the biggest professional. My back was hurting. I'm a young guy. My back is hurting. Why is my back hurting? I'm thinking. It shouldn't be hurting. So I go. Who do I go to? I go to the orthopedic surgeon, the doctor. The doctor tells you why your back's hurting. So the doctor goes and he runs these tests, and he says, I can help you. You have to have a little operation, and it can all get taken. Oh, are you coming to this? All right. Shmuel and Borak. So I'm telling you the story of my back was hurting. Did I ever tell you that story? So my back was, these are a couple of friends of my son and also myself. They're nice guys, but world travelers. If you know a good shidduch for either of them, they 21, 22. Very good guys, I can tell you. You could never find better. So, my back is hurting. The orthopedic surgeon says, don't worry, I can do a simple operation. We'll fuse this, we'll fuse that. I'm pretty sure your pain will go away. I said, thank you very much. And I walked out. I'm thinking to myself, what? I'm 22 years old, however old I was, 23. This guy wants to operate on my back. Is he crazy? This is what I'm thinking. I said, I'm not doing that. No way am I doing that. So I lived with this, quote, back problem. And eventually I quit work. That really helped me a lot. I felt much better, but you can't always just quit work. It depends on your responsibility of what's going on. But I quit work, I hopped in a van, I started traveling around the country. And that led me to find God, eventually. And I ended up in San Rafael, California. That's north of San Francisco. And I parked my yellow van, and a beautiful yellow van all set up. You could live in it and so forth. It was gorgeous. And I parked my van, and I'm getting out of my van, and of course I'm getting out carefully, my back hurts a little, blah, blah, blah. And the gardener from South America looks at me, and he says, I can help you. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, this is really funny. The gardener is going to help me, the orthopedic surgeon wants to operate him, and he's going to help me, the gardener. I'm thinking to myself, I don't say anything to him, I'm respectful. And he says, no, really, I can really help you. I was a doctor, and I forgot what country in South America. Here I'm a gardener, because I don't have a license. He said, lie on the grass, and I'm going to do the following. He says, I'm going to put...
Walk on your back?
No, he's not going to walk on my back. I'm going to put some coins on your back, and I'm going to put a little bit of cotton on it, and a little bit of alcohol. I'm going to light it, but don't get nervous. I have these cups, and I'm going to immediately put a cup on it,
I do that when I get it.
and that's going to take the oxygen out of everything. It's going to firm it up, and I'm going to help you. So I said, no problem, I'll lie in my bed. I said, I don't even care if he burns my back. It wouldn't even bother me at all. I'm in pain all the time, do whatever you want. This is what I'm thinking to myself. You know, once you're in pain for long periods of time, you don't care anymore. Do whatever you want, stab me, it doesn't matter. So that's how I felt. So he did this, and then he said, you can get up now. So I got up, pain gone, finished, no more pain. I was in pain for I don't know how many years from this, and it's just gone. From the gardener doing this cupping.
Because she took out what?
I don't know the mechanics of what happens, but it puts pressure. When all the oxygen goes out, it creates a suction in the area, and the suction does something in that area, and the pain went away. I can't tell you the reason why.
She took out the
all he did was he created a suction. That's it. How it happened, I don't know. That's what he did. And I didn't ask any questions, and that's what happened. Now there's two approaches to things. There's probably a lot more, but there's two approaches, and I'm the kind of person is I don't want to know why. Many people want to know why for everything. Like you're asking me a why question. They want to know why. I'm the kind of guy, I only want to know one thing. Does it work? If this works, I'm using it. I don't want to know why. Because I don't want to spend my lifetime trying to investigate, to figure out. If I work for a pharmaceutical company and they were paying me a lot of money, and they look into all their questions of why is this and why is that, and then they get a patent on it because they figure out with all the research that's why. But I don't want to know why, because I don't want to spend my time doing all these things. I only want to know what works. That's my approach. But there's a place and time for everything. Sometimes it's good to know why with different things, for different reasons. But I'm not a why guy. I'm only a guy. This works, great. I'm using it. It's not going to hurt me. I'm there. So that's how I operate in the world. But there are why people, and they find and investigate and they learn all kinds of things, and it's really helpful.
Well, homeopathy is like that. They say on the container, it might not help, but it will not harm. They say that on almost everything.
So does everybody know that there's basically 3 types of ways of healing in the medical world? Does everybody know the 3 different ways? There's allopathic medicine. That's what we have here in America. The MDs do allopathic medicine. Then we have herbal medicine, which goes all the way back to Moshe Rabbeinu. And then we have homeopathy. Do people know the difference in that, or do they want to know? Do people, everybody here know what it is? Maybe it's good to just say it, because it's helpful to know what your choices are and what's available. Allopathic medicine is the chemical medicine generally that's used in America. When you get a prescription, it's approved by the FDA, and it's an expensive process. It costs tens of millions of dollars, so you can't play the game. Only the people with the big bucks can play the game of getting the medicines. And they usually just copy what an herb is and then make it into a chemical. That's what they do. Herbal medicine is just what we're talking about. Things that will help you naturally, that you can find there's no changes to them. The only change you're going to do is how you're going to take it. Maybe you're going to take it as a tea, which is the way I like to, or maybe you're going to take it as I don't have it in my pocket, or as a tincture, because tinctures work too. And the third way
What's a tincture?
is homeopathy.
Shmuel, what's a tincture? For those who don't know.
Tincture is an herb that's put in a bottle of, let's say, alcohol or apple cider vinegar. It extracts the power of the herb, and then you can just take the tincture.
You swallow it or you smear it?
You swallow it generally.
Little teeny drops.
Generally.
A little.
Well, but one of the things, many things you can topically put on. One is the 5th Keturah, myrrh. Myrrh is a great handy thing to have around in a liquid form. What does myrrh do? It kills germs instantly. and it takes care of canker sores in the mouth. Literally, canker sores. Like if you get a sore inside your mouth, I found that if I have a sore, sometimes I eat pineapple and I get up with a sore in my mouth. Does that happen to you?
Yes.
I put this on, gone, boom, on the spot. I like boom, that kind of thing. I like quick, on the spot working, and it works.
What is called again?
Myrrh. No, I don't squirt it in. I just take the piece of glass and I just take a drop.
How do you spell that?
Put it on. M-H-Y-R-R-I. Myrrh. It's the fifth clitoris. Myrrh. It's the fifth. If you forget, it's the fifth clitoris in the prayer book. Look at the English. It'll say myrrh. Yes. So
You buy it in the store? Like? You buy this in the store? Like?
I'm going to give you the names of a couple of places where I buy things that are easy to get to and reliable and so forth. But we have a very big health food store in this area that has a lot of stuff. Could you show me that bottle that you showed me of, who showed me that bottle of, somebody showed me the bottle of a plant, of an herb that you ordered? No? Don't remember? Was it you? So, the third type of medicine that there is homeopathy. A lot of people don't know what homeopathy is. Homeopathy happens to be probably the most widely practiced medicine in the world today. Homeopathy used to be practiced in America before allopathic. In fact, the medical schools in America used to be homeopathic medical schools. That's what we used to have here. Homeopathy is very big in India. In fact, I once looked up something because I wanted to know mentally. Somebody asked me a mental question. What could they take in place of various things? I couldn't find a local person who did for psychiatric things here. In India, they're loaded with them. They don't take the medications we do for the psychiatric problem. They take homeopathy. So what's so great about homeopathy? Why is that such a big deal? Homeopathy is a form of medicine that has literally no side effects in general. It's so safe, it's cheap, and for those reasons it's not good in America because you can't make money like this. So you don't want homeopathy in America. It's not good for business. So they run them out of town. That's what you do to people who don't want to make money. You run them out of town. So they've been run out of town. They're thriving well despite all the bad press that the allopathic people give them. So what is it? Back in the 1800s, a guy named Hahnemann, a German doctor, found that if he took substances and he diluted them, so they're like 1 part to even a million, he would dilute them, and he would give them to his patients, different things, they would get better on the spot. Just boom, they'd get better. So this created a whole new field of medicine that is still live and well today, and very inexpensive. So I usually carry, I usually carry with me a few things. One, this is a homeopathic medicine. If you go in a health food store, you'll see these all over the place. But this is just one company. There's many companies that make homeopathy. This just happens to be a big one, Boron. I think it's from France. I think that it's a big company. They used to be very homeopathic. Now they're switching to the allopathic, always for the same reason. Money. So that, so Arnica, Montana is a great, you've heard of Arnica, right? Everybody heard of Arnica? It's good for boo-boos, it's good for pains, it's good for whatever.
And I took it.
Pardon?
I had a broken foot a few years ago. I took Arnica around the clock and bentonite clay, and I healed very quickly.
That's what it's known for. She said it well. That it heals things quickly. My oldest daughter, Leah, she used to fall on the ground and get these goose eggs like this on her head. I mean, literally, it was like a baseball. Her head would, she banged her head and boom. We found that arnica, taken right afterwards, she's got this big thing there. Within 2 minutes, it goes away, an arnica. Now, it's also great if you go to the dentist and they're going to do something that's painful, you're going to have an operation, take it ahead of time and take it after. But the way to take this kind of stuff is, you don't take it once or twice. You have to take it, a couple of pellets for every 4 hours, for a day or two before and a day or two after. It works better if you constantly take it, if that's what you do.
What about like long term? You don't catch right away. Whatever it is.
It's still going to be helpful. Now somebody asked me about ticks. Who asked me about ticks? Who asked ticks here? You did. Okay, so since we're outside and ticks are important, I'm going to talk quickly about ticks. If you want me to. About. So, I have clothing with something called permethylon. You can buy it, it's expensive, but ticks hate it. It's permethylon. Permeth something. You'll find it if you look it up. And you can get clothing made of that, and ticks hate it. Now, you can get a spray, but it's totally toxic. So don't even think of putting it on your body. You could spray your own thing, but I used to spray my clothes with it. But I found it was just better to get the clothes that's already set up with it. So that will get rid of ticks. They won't put it. They won't want to be on you.
After they don't harm the deer.
Hmm?
Really, it's a deer tick, right? And the deer are fine.
People have all kinds of ideas. Deer. Some people think it's mice that are carrying more of the ticks than anything else. That's how it's getting spread. I mean, everybody has a different theory.
Maybe it's from the pesticides and it's not really from nature.
I don't know. I can't tell you. But ticks are definitely a big problem.
I know, I had
so
Lyme.
I had Lyme disease once. I don't want to talk too long about this. But I had Lyme disease once, a very bad case. I couldn't think, literally. I had to write everything down or I'd forget I'd stand in line to talk to a rabbi. By the time I got to the rabbi, I forgot what I'm going to ask because I didn't write it down. That's how bad it affected my brain. My knees were hurting. I could hardly walk. I was a wreck with that. But it's a long story how I got rid of it. But I don't have it anymore. But the best way is when you're outside, tuck in whatever you have, or women wear stockings, long stockings, and check yourself every day. Check yourself every day, quickly in the mirror to see if you have a tick. It takes usually 48 hours for once a tick is in you before they're going to end up with their venom going into you. That's how long it normally takes. So if you find a tick, I made a tick kit actually. I didn't continue to promote it because it just took too much time and it didn't make any money. But I did make a tick kit, and there was a whole process that I went through. First of all, how to get rid of the tick. If you find a tick, what do? Do you panic? Don't panic, because odds are you're not going to catch anything from it. It has to be in you a couple of days. Yes, get rid of it. Take it out. How do you take it out? You could kill the tick by I find the best thing is rubbing alcohol. That's one way. Another way is to put a insect repellent, and I got one that's smelly, and you put the insect repellent near the tick, and when you do that, most of the time the tick releases its grip, and then you can just take it off with a tweezer. Now after this, what do you do then? And what I found from when I looked into this pretty thoroughly, that a homeopathic remedy called ledum pulustrum, Ledum, I think it's Pulustrum, something like that. You'll find it. It's readily available. That if you take that, it's a great remedy so you will not get Lyme disease. But if the tick has been in there for a couple of days. And how will you know it's been in there for a couple of days? Because if the tick, I don't want to gross you out, but if it's fat, it means it has your blood in it. And when it comes out and you squish it, you'll see the blood. So if it's at that point, then it's probably smart, from what I researched, to take one antibiotic on the spot. Within 2 days of finding that, take an antibiotic. Doxycycline is a good
I was
one.
on that for a
Doctors sent me
month.
antibiotics.
Huh?
And I said, oh, they must have sent me to the wrong one. I don't do antibiotics. They did it because I was a young Jewish lady. And I left it by the front door. Everybody's waiting for someone to come pick it up. My doctor's assistant called and said, did you get those antibiotics? I said, no. I mean, yeah, why? Who were they for? They said, you. I said, what for? They said, you have a tick. You're lying. So I called the head one and I healed here with herbalist. And he said, take it for 1 month and then come to me.
Okay, so from my research, it says take one. If take one doxycycline, and that normally should do the trick.
What do you mean, one what?
One 100 milligram
One
doxycycline.
per month.
Well, if you catch this early, and you know it's from
No,
a
I
tick,
had an old line
no,
sitting in my
that's a
mind.
different thing. I'm not a doctor, I'm not an MD, I'm not telling you what to do. You should, if you have an issue like that, you should go to an MD, and you should take whatever he says. That would be
But
my
it doesn't
advice.
mean you're definitely cured. It can still stay dormant. And after I took doxycycline for a month, I didn't feel good. So I went to Dr. Elaine Mass, and he heals you with natural remedies, all vitamins. That's one of the reasons I was on the oil of the
Okay, I'm not going to go into any more about ticks because we could talk all day and it's kind of boring to me actually. So that's it for ticks. Let's go back in. How much sound do you think?
So for you're talking for an hour and 15 minutes.
An hour and 2 minutes?
An hour and 15 minutes.
15?
12
Huh?
117 it is.
You're doing a good job, thank you.
Thank you, Shmuel.
Wow. Last time we had a much bigger crowd, but it seems like next week.
We'll get it uploaded.
Hmm?
We'll get it uploaded and it'll last on YouTube for a while.
Well, people looking at people, they seem to be interested.
Sounds like